Alright, I'm recording this way instead of Zoom because our Zoom license has expired. Hopefully it'll be fixed very soon. A student came to my office yesterday and said, I want you to teach me how to hack into machines.
Yes, teach me how to
Who was that student? I'd love to hear the story.
And I told him, I said, first of all, there's a lot more involved than that. I said, what do you want? He goes, I want you to just get into that machine. I'm like, first, how do you find a machine? That's kind of an important thing. If you're going to break into a house, first of all, you got to find the house to break into. So I'm going to cover like the first portion of this. We're going to cover something called reconnaissance. We're going to do one aspect of it. Okay? So I'm going to install Wireshark. Y'all know what Wireshark is?
XXX.
Okay, who has not seen Wireshark before? It has to be someone who hasn't seen it. Okay, good. So we're installing it. Wireshark is free. While it installs here, you can actually get Wireshark from wireshark.org. Don't install it in here because, yeah, you don't need them in here. This is where you get Wireshark from. I do recommend you play with this. Okay, at your house, on your laptops. Do not install this at your work. Okay, so let me show you when you install it. There's a couple things we need to watch out for. And it's not here yet. This section right here, there's a question about installing the WinPCAP driver. You need it to capture network traffic, but it's not needed to view already captured traffic. So if I was to provide you with a capture like I do in some of my classes, you don't need the PCAP driver. What the WinPCAP driver does is it puts your machine in promiscuous mode so that your network card will receive all the traffic. Okay? Normally a network card only accepts traffic from that's destined for itself. Okay? So, and you can now also capture USB traffic, but we're not going to do that today. So I'm installing it with WinPCAP, but if you do that at your work, say you did that at Tinker, they would know instantly. Because they can detect when a machine's in promiscuous mode, and you could potentially get fired. Okay? Rose State knows I do this, so they're okay with me doing it. Now, I'm not going to start it every time, obviously. And we should be almost done here. It goes pretty quick. This program was originally called Ethereal or Ethereal. It's pretty awesome now. What are you doing over there?
I'm telling them to set up via lead hex or God.
Jeez. Okay. And as I'm going through this, please, did you have a question, anybody?
Can your computer not go into promiscuous mode like by itself? Do you have to have a program?
You have to have some sort of program to do it. Like when I was in Tulsa, I had to do a network scanner, so the professor provided us with a C program that just did that for you. Unless you run something that puts it in a promiscuous, it will not automatically do it. It's specifically made for that. Because what happens is there's network traffic around the network, obviously. And our machine receives every packet on this segment, and it looks at it. Is this destined for me? Then it accepts it. If not, it ignores it. Okay? All right, so I got that installed. Now, hopefully I don't have to restart. Shouldn't have to. Okay, so when I run it, I mean, this program, the interface has changed so much lately, it's amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
Depending on your machine and your permissions, you might have to run it in administrator mode. You might have to right-click, run it as administrator. Now, I'm actually going to do this local area connection here. Now, you can also, put a file, like in security auditing, I provide you with a file that I made. Then you have to open that file and analyze it, okay? But in this case, we're going to make our own file right now. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on this, and what it's doing is it's actually capturing network traffic. This is live traffic on the network, okay? If you were to do this at your house, you would see all kinds of traffic on it, okay? Now, I'm not really doing much with my computer right now, but I'm still getting traffic, okay? Let me close this off. I'll close this off. So really, the only thing I'm doing at the moment, if I can get Zoom to go away, quit Zoom. Okay, the only thing I got running is Camtasia and Wireshark, okay? yet I'm still getting traffic. See that? It's still coming in. Anyone know why I'm still getting traffic even though I'm doing nothing?
Because it's every internet traffic only part.
Well, what is it? Okay, now we happen to be on what's called a switched network here. So we're connected to a switch down the hall. So we're actually only receiving traffic on my wire from the switch. But still there's a lot of broadcast traffic out there. Like, let's look at this one. ARP traffic. Who has, I don't know how to zoom in to make this easier to see. But this traffic, if you read it, well, let's show it here. It says, who has 10.55.10.1? I know it's hard to see. Don't worry about that. Tell 10.55, 10.162. So somebody on machine 10.55, 10.162 wants to know who the heck 10.55, 10.1 is. So it sends a broadcast out. Hey, who's got this number? Please tell me. Okay? And you can tell it's a broadcast because right here the destination is broadcast. Okay? I don't know any way. Roy, do you know how I could make my whole this whole thing bigger?
No, at all.
How about if I zoom in with this? Where is zoom? Zoom maybe?
Yeah, you can zoom in.
I'm going to try to make it so it stays in the screen so you can see it.
I see a magnifying glass up there too.
I do see that.
Yeah, you could just
Oh,
use
let's try that.
magnifier, I guess.
Oh,
Camera
that's
gets
amazing. That's just amazing. All right. So let me go out a little bit more. Still trying to make it look like it's kind of in the screen here. Y'all see that a little bit better now? Okay. So let's go back to that ARP packet. You'll see it's asking who these are. Now you can, whenever you receive a packet, you can click on these sections down here. These will change. This happens to be an ARP packet. We know that because it's telling us that. Okay, it says ARP request. But how does the computer know that it's an ARP request? How does it? Well, if you open up these arrows, now I do go this into great depth in many classes. Okay, all these things open up. You can find the interface ID. You can find the timing of the packet. All that stuff on there. Okay. For Ethernet, you can find out the source and destination. Destination is all Fs. All Fs means broadcast. This is sent out to everybody on the entire network. So I don't care if you're in our building or another building on campus, you receive that same packet. Unless they somehow is segmented, but I don't know if they do or not. Okay, and there's when it came from. Now, you'll notice down here at the bottom, see when I highlighted broadcast, it highlighted those Fs down there at the bottom. This is the actual raw data that you see on the network. And what Wireshark is doing is it's showing us which part of the data is what. So the destination address is that first section, this first 6. Source would be the next 6. This next section right here, 0806, tells it I'm an ARP packet, but I'm also an ARP request packet. So that's how it knows what the heck it is. Okay. ARP is very small, so there's a bunch of padding on there. And we can open this up. It tells you what type it is. It tells you if it's IPv4. If it was IPv6, it'd be something different. These change all the time. And I have many projects where I give the students just this bottom section and they have to tell me what the heck it is. It's kind of important. You need to know how to do this. Okay, let's pick another packet. Up here we got a TCP packet. We all heard about TCP IP at one point or another, hopefully. This is a TCP packet. You'll see the bottom's different. Now instead of ARP, we have TCP. See that? And if I open that up, I can see the source and destination ports. I can know where they come from. And you'll notice the hex values are changing. Okay, you can see the sequence number. Now this is kind of tricky, and there's a part in my class where this will really mess you up. Okay? The sequence number, let me explain what that is. I'm going to send out a bunch of packets. Okay? So I'm going to talk to Roy here. So I'm going to take my data, and I'm going to break it into a bunch of pieces and send it to Roy. He has to know how to put it back together. Hence the sequence numbers. This is number 217 or 218 or 219 or 220, okay? So that changes, okay? But in Wireshark, you know how it says relative sequence number? That's bad. Because this is not 217. What you need to go in here, you go into File, it's under one of these. Preferences, Protocols, TCP, there's a lot of protocols. There's TCP, lost it. TCP. Right here it says relative sequence numbers. I'm going to turn that off and watch what happens to my sequence. Oh, look at those numbers now. Huge. Because it actually uses 32-bit sequence numbers. Wireshark just makes it pretty for you. Wireshark says, hey, in this conversation, this is packet 217. Okay? Another cool thing you can do is see we're actually receiving a bunch of traffic. Let's find another TCP packet on here. So I picked a TCP packet. Check this out. You can actually right-click on it and say follow TCP stream right here. And it'll actually give you the entire packet of everything that pertains to that conversation. I realize you can't read much of this, but once you take the other classes, you'll be able to figure out how to read this stuff, what it means. Now let me actually do something here. I'm still recording data. Again, most of this is broadcast. Some of this TCP stuff is probably coming from whatever we got running down here. Print managers, it could be our virus scanner, it could be deep freeze, could be whatever. So that's what some of this traffic is. But I'm actually going to create some traffic. I'm going to go to a website that has a lot of traffic. MSN.com. So I bring up MSN.com, and you'll notice I got to close out that because I don't want that stream anymore. I just got a whole ton of traffic. All kinds of it in here. Okay? And like I can go in here. Well, geez, okay, let me stop the traffic. I'm getting too much here. But you can actually look through all this traffic and you can potentially figure out what the heck it is. Like I'm going to look at this guy, follow it here, and this is something from Google. So what is it? Google Docs, Google Drive, Google Hangout, GeoTrust. So it's a certificate, obviously, because it came from Equifax and GeoTrust. So this is probably a certificate request for a secure website or something. Okay. But this gives you an idea of what traffic looks like. Now, I'm going to capture some more traffic. I stopped it. I'm going to close out my web browser because I don't want that to come in anymore. Now I'm going to bring up, anyone ever heard of FTP before? FTP stands for File Transfer Protocol. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to FTP somewhere. So I'm going to start my capture all over again. Continue without saving. I went to FTP to ftp.nai.com, which is Network Associates. I'm going to log in with Anonymous. My password is going to be Ken. Okay, I'm in. I can do an LS to see what's there. I can change into their products. I can change into let's go into something different. Let's go into license. Alright, well, you only seen part of it, but yeah. You can actually see the commands I'm typing. So I changed into licensed. Now you can actually see that I can actually see the different languages of their antivirus software. See, there's antivirus at the bottom. DDIR, and I could actually get their DAT file updates. You know, hopefully we all run virus scanners. A lot of them download files automatically. Well, they get them from here. If you're a McAfee member, okay, automatically logs in, it gets the latest DAT file, and does all this stuff. Okay, so I'm going to exit out of here. Now let's look at the actual traffic that we just captured. Okay. All right. So in theory, it should be in here somewhere. Up there it is. And what's cool about this program, I can actually go in here and says I want to see FTP traffic, and it filters it for me into FTP. Okay. Look up in here. It came the request for the username. What's my username I entered? What was the password I entered? ken@here.com. So next time you use FTP, if someone happens to be capturing your traffic, they're getting it. So this is what's called non-encrypted traffic. Okay, it's not SSL. So MSN doesn't encrypt their traffic. Okay, D2L does. Google does. A lot of programs do, and more do, especially for personal information. But when I ran my ISP for years, I did not encrypt all the traffic because it's slower. Encrypted traffic means every single packet has to be encrypted and matched to a key and sent across the network, where unencrypted traffic is literally clear text, but you want to make sure certain things are encrypted. So what you need to do is you need to get this program at your house, capture some traffic, and look through and see what you see. So now I can right-click on this guy and say follow stream again, and you'll see. Here it comes. Here's where I logged in. You can see some of the different commands where I changed in the products, changed back a directory, I changed in the license, then I changed into antivirus. Then at the very end it said quit, not goodbye.
So if it's not encrypted or using secure at all, it's going to print everything out?
Yes, all in clear text. Kind of scary, isn't it? Okay. So that's an example of totally clear text. Okay. Let me clear that out. Let me show you now what encrypted traffic looks like. So I'm going to start this again. Continue without saving. And I'm to connect to, let's go to D2L. Okay. I'm going to log in here to D2L. There you go. Just logged into D2L. Y'all agree I'm inside of D2L? Yep. Alright, now I'm going to stop it. Let's see if we can't find my password now, since you saw it a minute ago in the other place. So let's pick one. See, now you can actually look at this protocol here, and it talks about TLS. That's encrypted. Anytime you see something on a port of 443, it's encrypted. So if I was to view this data here, if I did this follow stream, you couldn't really read it. You might see the initial connection, but then all the data is nothing but gobbledygook. Look at that. You can't read any of that. Okay. So it's all encrypted. That's why it's important to have encrypted traffic. Okay. Now this is the beginning of the connection here. The reason I know that is it says hello, client hello, and you can actually see where they do a key transfer at the top. Again, we talked about this a lot more in other classes. But SSL is what you want. You want encrypted data, especially when you're doing something with personal information on it. A lot of programs don't encrypt. Email doesn't always encrypt. Now, Gmail on the web does, but a lot of Google or email clients do not. So it really depends on what you're doing. So run this program at your house and just see what you get. You'll be amazed sometimes what you get. Okay, let's look at a couple other pieces of traffic. I just saw one a second ago. Here's a traffic called DHCP. DHCP stands for Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. What DHCP is good is whenever you turn your machine on a network, it says, hey, I need an address. So it sends out a discovery packet. So if I was to look, there's most likely a discovery packet in this group somewhere. Unless I deleted that part. But there's a discovery packet where your machine says, hey, I need an address. Anybody get an address for me? Okay, that's the D. So if you think of, like, remember Dora the Explorer? That's how it works. D for discovery. Then O for offer. That's where someone says, hey, I got an address for you. Would you like this one? So they offer it. Request is, wow, that's a good-looking address. I'd like that address, please. Then acknowledgement is, okay, we're done. It's your address. So that's how DHCP works. But there's also some other things. It does information like, hey, I have a new service for you, or something else, or whatever has acknowledging on it. You'll notice a lot of these are on special ports. Think of ports as like the channels on your television. Channel 4 is whatever channel 4 is. I don't watch broadcast. Is that KFOR? Makes sense. Channel 5 is KLCO then. Okay. Well, in here, channel 80 is the internet. Okay. 67 is DHCP. 20 and 21 are FTP. I don't think I have any of those in there anymore. I deleted the FTP traffic out of here. DNS should be on 53. Let's look. We have a DNS query, and sure enough, the port right there is on 53. Okay. Now, let's try to find some web traffic, some TCP. TCP should be on 80. This one's not on 80. It's on 443. Anyone know why? It's encrypted. 80 is non-encrypted traffic. 443 is encrypted traffic. Kind of funny story about this. I installed the wireless in a bunch of the Buffalo Wild Wings around the city. I did it years ago. And I wanted to limit what people could do. So if you're managing wireless at Buffalo Wild Wings, what do you think people should have access to?
The internet.
Internet. So port 80. What else?
That's it. Nothing else.
So I figured maybe secure traffic, so I'll give them 443. So I give them 80 and 443. So let me make a notepad, Harry. So I'm going to give them 80. I'm going to give them 443. What else might someone wanting to do on the internet? What? Email. So I'll throw them a SMTP of 25, and I'll even give them a POP 10 of a 110 for POP 3. I could give them nMap, but we're not going to. I don't know the number offhand. So I did that. Didn't work. I blocked everything but these ports. And I'm like, what the heck? There's no traffic. What's going on? Does anyone know what I missed? What I missed, Roy? Roy says I missed 53. I missed DNS. DNS stands for Domain Name System. Whenever you type in an address, Microsoft.com, Google.com, Facebook.com, do you think we actually work by names? No, we work by numbers.
You guys don't remember, Google?
Oh, I know a lot of numbers by heart. Yeah. But, so what happened was when you would type in, Google.com, it sends a request that, all right, I need the number for, I can't, port's blocked. So I open up 53, and then, now we're good to go. Now we can get, so I'm telling you, it took me a while to figure that darn thing out. I actually figured it out, maybe about an hour, I guess, to get them all configured. And then I just copied the configuration and just dumped in all the other ones, which is pretty simple. But ports are very important when configuring the network. Okay, so we're not getting really in depth. See, there's DNS. Here's a query for something. This is a standard query. And if you look down at the bottom, it's for clients1.google.com. So some sort of automated query for Google. It could be analytics. Who knows what it is. That's the query, and here's the response. So it gave me the response of whatever. Who the heck is calling me now? Okay. So, and this is just some of the traffic. It's very important to know what the heck's going on. At my network at my house, I was having a problem where I got a printer. I've had the printer for literally 17 years now. And I hard-coded the address on it. It's a network printer, so I hard-coded the address. I never have to worry about it. It was last digit, 222. 17 years ago I did this. Haven't touched it in 17 years. When I hit print, it prints, which is kind of handy. Well, then I've been adding cameras to my house. Drop cams or Nest cams now where you could see things. And I don't like to just plug stuff in. I like to give what's called the reservations, so that I know how everything's configured. And as I buy a new item, I add a reservation. And what I do is, someone just walking into my house and getting an address automatically, like with a laptop or a phone, they start at 100. They go between 100 and 200. I figured that's plenty. Stuff that I assign, I start at 201. So, camera 1 is 201, camera 2 is 202, and so on and so forth. I have source, I have a lot of stuff with IP addresses on it. But then all of a sudden, my printer quit working. It was very intermittent. And then one of my cameras was very intermittent. And I couldn't figure out what the heck they did. I couldn't put two and two together. What's going on? So I actually did a project where I scanned my home network 3 different ways and provided the internal scan of my network to my students. And Heather, one of the students, she's like, why is your printer and your camera on the same address? I'm like, they're not. I'm too smart for that. No, I was an idiot. I did the camera the printer so long ago, I never kept track of it. So when I added the camera with 222, whenever I went to print, the camera went offline because it was using the same address. Whenever I brought out the camera, the printer went offline. It was like, oh. Changes it to another number, worked like a champ. So, it's figured it out by looking at this. Because you can sort by addresses. You can go in here and sort by source address, and it'll literally put them in order for you. So there's a lot of stuff you can do with this program. It's pretty darn cool. Okay? And I've only barely touched on some of the capabilities of. You can export traffic. You can. That's what I do. I'll capture some traffic and provide it to students to look at it. Something must be going on. 1 second. I'm kind of in the middle of a meeting. Do you need... I don't mind ignoring a call once or twice, but I was worried. Okay, so that's Wireshark. Play with it. Play with it a lot. Just go capture traffic and look at it. It's amazing what this stuff can do. Because there's a lot of assignments where I give you this bottom section, you got to tell me what the heck it is. And yes?
I was going to say, like, a lot of time, there's this, like, on the computer, and like you can close out like all the websites and everything like that in our browsers and still get stuff from 443 and HTTP. And is there a way to trace back to where it's coming from?
Actually, yes. Okay. You can look at this. So, okay, let's just capture some new traffic. Okay. I have no web browsers open right now. I have nothing open but Camtasia and Wireshark.
Did you resume the recording? I'm just curious.
Yes, it's all resumed. Good. Okay, so I'm going to continue without saving. So I'm getting some traffic, and I want to know who the heck this is coming from, okay? So we're just going to do just a little bit here. Okay, so I captured just a small amount of traffic. Now, you can actually look at this stuff and say, okay, let's see. I want to know who the heck... Okay, here's the host acknowledgement. I can look at this, and it'll actually tell you over here that this is actually from BS 122 Lab 08. There's a machine in there that just sent out a browser that says, hey, I'm out here. I'm a workstation. Computers all the time tell you what's going on. And you can always look at the source. Like, okay, you can always look at the source address. And what the source address will tell you, if you to expand it up here, potentially what kind of system it is. This one happens to be an HP system. And we know it's in 208. Or room 122, lab 08. So look at the source address. That's, how we figure stuff out. Look at where it comes from. Look at the source column. And figure out what on your network has that address. There should be a way on your network to figure out what every IP address is.
If you can figure out what it's coming from, can you figure out what like program or something that's on that device?
Potentially. Really, if it's HTTP... or something, well then we know it's a web. Now we're going to actually cover some more about that in a minute with another program. But you can look at the ports and say, okay, it's port 80, obviously it's web traffic. Or 443 is web traffic. The problem is, say I'm connecting to Google, okay? I connect out on port 80. Okay, my destination port is 80, but my port that's going out is actually like 1024 and above. It's some random port number. So if you look at these ports down here, we need a TCP packet, don't we? I don't have any. But the ports can vary. I don't have a TCP packet to show you at the moment. But and there's also this UDP stuff. There's two types of traffic, TCP and UDP. Transmission Control Protocol or User Datagram Protocol. Okay. TCP is what's called connection-oriented. We have to know where it came from. They have to connect. They have to do this handshake thing. UDP is not. It's like printers did it for the longest time. There was a while where streaming services were using UDP because it's faster. It doesn't have as much data with it. It's like if I look down here, okay, there's really not much data here. Whereas the TCP packet, which I don't have to show you, actually has a lot more data on it.
You kind of said like streaming services used to use UDP, they're not using it.
They don't need to because our networks are fast enough. Okay. In the past, our networks were so slow that every packet counted. Nowadays, I mean, come on, we all have what's I have the 100 or 300 or is it 200 meg, whatever. I have the Cox's biggest thing, just not their Gigablast.
Yeah, me too.
What's yours at home?
I've got fiber.
You,
I'm just running fiber.
must be nice. But,
Fiber, just fiber.
you know, when I ran my ISP, we used to really look at the size of stuff. Because back then, I mean, we had people with DSL still. We still had people with dial-up. But now, is there anybody here who uses dial-up? No. So our internet's fast enough now where these streaming services are like, you know, we can now use TCP. Because it's connection-oriented. They know the packets are going to get there. The internet quality is there now. So why use UDP? UDP was good because we just kept shoving at you and you kept taking it. If you're missing a couple in there, who cares? But now we can actually make sure you're getting the complete package, you know, and getting everything. So it's, yes.
So, like on fiber, why is the upload higher than the download?
Upload's higher? It should be the other way around.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Should be. Normally what happens when you, here, I'm going to show you some awesome skills here. It should, but not all. Okay. We'll say we got our traffic here, okay? We're going to draw a line. We're going to make it thick, okay? So here's my traffic, okay? Normally what you have, another line. Give me another line. Are you serious? Okay, well, okay. Pretend I have a bunch of thick lines. Okay. Imagine your cable traffic. Okay, now we got, what, 8,000 channels? Well, what they normally do is give you a whole bunch of bandwidth to download stuff. And really, uploading is not much, because when you're surfing to Google, surfing whatever, all you're sending is a request. Say you're watching Netflix. You send a request that says, show me this movie. They're the ones that send their own movie. And after every hundreds of packets, you just say, I got it. So really, you don't need much upload speed. So what they do is they take your bandwidth and they give most of it for downloads. If yours is backwards, it's weird.
Well, I mean, I have 862 downloads and 916 uploads.
That's weird. I had no idea why.
Is there a way you can actually, like, I feel like you would be able to, is there a way you can request, like, if you would like your upload to be higher than your download?
Oh, sure. Just got to pay for it.
Cost a lot more. Okay, so consumer.
Okay.
Consumers download more than they upload because that's how that
There
works.
probably needs to be a limit down before they start charging you. So like,
When I ran my ISP, I wanted a T1 line. 1.44 megabits per second, okay? That's what it was.
I promise they don't.
This was back in 2000. I paid $900 for that per month. But I actually had 3 of them, so I paid 900 times 3 a month. Now with that, it was commercial digital traffic, full up and down were the same. Kind of like what his is. Right, but it was dedicated to me. So even though he has fiber, what if somebody else on that circuit needed the bandwidth that was paying money for it? They could just kick him right off. Because there's no way they're guaranteeing him 900 megs. Even Cox doesn't guarantee me 300 megs.
up to.
Yeah, but when you're a paying customer, you know, it's funny because people will tell me, man, Cox customer service sucks. But when I had my own ISP, I had the cell phone numbers of the engineers. I'd call them at 2 in the morning. They come right out. I paid them $1,800 or what? $2,700 a month? Yeah, they'd be right out for that amount of money. But normally your download's bigger than your upload because that's what we all need. Cox changed it. Oh man, what, a year ago? 2 years ago now? That in the past, they would give you all those channels to your house. Then your cable box displayed which one you wanted to see. Okay? Now what they did to speed up our networks is they no longer do that. Now they get all the channels to their side, but when your cable box says, I want channel 82, it sends a request. It says, hey, send Roy 82. Now, instead of sending Roy all 900 channels and he only viewing one, they're only sending him one. So that's how our speed's bigger now. Because now Roy's only getting one channel instead of 900. And his cable box tells them what he wants. And it's, so, yes. Yep. So that, I mean, it makes sense. They used to send you everything. Why do you need everything? You don't need everything. You only need a little bit. So it's kind of like you go to a restaurant. Can you imagine them cooking the entire menu, coming to your table? Here's everything.
Yes.
I just want that right there. That's an awful waste.
I'm the fat.
Okay, that's what our cable was. Now our cable is, what would you like? They go back and cook that one item and bring you that one item. You request it and you only get that one. That's why it's much faster now. And obviously fiber, there's no bandwidth cap yet. They don't know how fast fiber can go. Cisco about 5 or 6 years ago did a test where they were able to transfer a full-length DVD movie from Germany to California in like 7 seconds. With our current technologies. That's now without anything new. So we're getting better and faster and stronger, and it's just crazy where this stuff is going. But what happens? We get more speed. What do? We download more stuff. Now we got 2 and 3 and 5 people at home watching Netflix at the same time, and this drives me crazy. We all have Netflix or know what Netflix is. I hate it. When you go through that big old, all this recommendation crap for you. I hate it. Now it actually plays movies. Like the previews automatically. That drives me bananas. I want to be able to, go through the list without it. No, I just want to see the title and a little blurb. I can read that. I don't need to watch, a 30-second preview of the movie. But we got the bandwidth for it now. Apps like Facebook, depending where you're at, their app actually sends varying amounts of data based upon your connection. To get a cell phone out in the middle of Africa that's on a super slow, you get basically, just content with no graphics and no nothing like that. So that's why it varies if you're watching on a computer or your cell phone or what your connection speed is and all that other stuff. They vary on what they send you. Okay? Kind of got an idea of how that works? I realize I'm barely touching the surface on any of this. I want to show you a little bit of another program. Okay?
Hey, wait.
There's a breach. We need Wireshark right now.
Yep.
There's been a breach.
Try Wireshark.
We need to capture what's going on right now.
Hold on. We got to capture something right now.
Right now. This is.
I'm capturing it right now. Are you pinging me, Roy, or something? Yeah, Roy is doing what's called, you all doing denial services?
This is not denial.
This is hard,
service.
brother.
Well, this is kind of like
Like
it.
a,
You're sending me a crap load of pings is what you're doing.
oh yeah, it's all fragmented IP. Yeah.
Why is it not ICMP packets though?
Well, some of them are right there. It's because they're all fragmented.
Yeah,
They're all
they're huge.
fragmented.
They're huge.
See, he broke them apart. See, normally a ping is a very, let me show you what a ping is.
Look at those. Look at the packets down there, guys. 52,000 encountered.
That's nothing. That's nothing. I can handle it.
Just clicked it. Like 10
Well,
seconds.
what's your name? What's your computer name?
BS-203-
Lab
05, yeah.
Okay. So if I send a ping to Roy, basically what's happening, I'm sending him 5 packets. It's not much, but I can do a dash
That's all we can do.
T, or it goes forever.
Yep.
Okay. Now what's happening is I'm sending Roy unlimited packets, but they're teeny. They're 32 bytes in size.
Mine are 65,000.
I'm going to give it a slash. Is it slash dash L?
It is dash L, lowercase L. So that matters.
65. What is the max number?
I think it's around 65,000. I don't know.
So now what's happening is I'm sending him these huge packets.
Also notice the time it takes to send over. It was less than 1 millisecond. Now
Now
it's
it's
talking
Now
12.
see the time? It's taking longer.
Much longer.
But what's happening is I'm sending him a request and he's replying.
I tried
right.
to
But-
send it without fragmenting, but apparently it won't let me do
Years ago when eBay went down and Yahoo went down, what had happened was, this is one computer. But imagine if 10 million computers did this. Because what's happening is with every packet, I'm saying, hey, Roy. And he's like, what do you want?
So,
But I'm saying, hey, Roy, a big hey, Roy. Hey, Roy.
hey Roy, Volkswagen!
And he's like, what do you want? So it's a lot more data to pass. But imagine if, back when I worked at an ISP downtown, there was an ISP in Tulsa that went bankrupt. And you can imagine they were not happy they were going bankrupt and we bought them out. So they kind of screwed us over on all their stuff. But what they did is they changed the secret encryption keys for our nationwide dial-up So for a week, our dial-up customers couldn't connect. You can imagine the phone calls. They started. And then literally the office rang, then our cell phones all rang. And I still remember the day we were all sitting there staring at our phones. They wouldn't stop ringing. We couldn't. I mean, there were so many calls. We just gave up. That's a denial of service. We got so many requests. You know, it went crazy. So one computer's no big deal. Roy can answer it. You know, when I taught, CyberPage a couple of years ago, and the student in the back was writing this script to send me, you know, like 5,000 connections. This is a gigabit network. Send me 150,000. It ain't gonna do nothing. Ain't gonna be nothing.
Good sir, I have PS exact for this entire floor. Let's play.
Still ain't gonna hurt.
Look at that, 250,000.
Yeah, they're going pretty quick. Look at that. I don't know if you can see that number down there. It's going pretty quick.
Let's see if it just stops dead in its tracks. Yep.
Yeah,
Now it's single bit increments now. And are you ready?
Stopped.
Ready? And we're
they're
back.
I'll just put it up.
Okay. All right, you can stop now, Roy, because I'm turning mine off. Your fun and games is over. All right. So that's somewhat like a denial of service. The road wasn't distributed because it was only Roy. But if all of you did it, that would kind of be like it. There's a video, kind of funny video. Watch this video if you get a chance. I don't want this, and I don't want this. Go on and type in Ghost. Go on and type in Ghost Exodus. And this very first link, it's a short, like 5-minute video. This guy is going to break into the network.
I break into the network.
And, well, if I can.
Right now. Hey, what's up, everybody?
He's going to break in.
You're on a mission with me. Infiltration. I just happen to be the only person here.
There's this security guard.
We're going. Got this, which houses the bomb. Frankfurt.
Hold on.
Here. This ain't going nowhere. I do have this.
Op crack. Ooh.
Guys, we found him back right here. He's here. He's just hit with the
Right. But it's kind of funny because this guy actually was a security guard of the company. Obviously had keys to everything. But he gets into a machine by using opcrack. Ooh, that's so tough. We use that in a couple different classes. He breaks the password, installs a remote access program, basically like a zombie. That way he can get in remotely and control it. But then he posted the crap on the internet.
You know he was getting busted. This looks like a joke video. I didn't expect him to do it.
Yeah. All right. Now I'm going to install a program called ZenMap. nMap is the program. ZenMap is the graphical interface for it. Shouldn't take long to install. And we also do a whole bunch of projects using nMap. And I agree to all this stuff. Yeah. Just say sure, whatever. But it does install the... Well, again, you shouldn't be installing any of this stuff at your work anyway. So, but...
A little suspicious.
Yeah, a little suspicious if they find it. Don't worry, Brad will... Actually, Brad doesn't scan this y'all stuff, does he? If he does, he'll say, why is there nMap on the... Well, Ken's been up there again, darn it. Okay. So there we go. I should have it. And... Who wants a desktop icon anymore? They just appear. It drives me crazy. Okay. I'm going to run a program called ZenMap, which is just the GUI version of nMap. Okay? Now I'm going to make it so you can see it. Okay? Now, I'm going to put in a machine that I happen to know about. BS-104-01. That's my machine. I'm going to do a quick scan of my machine. What this program is doing is it's going to connect to my machine in my office and scan it. So I click scan. It shouldn't take all that long, and it's done. What it came up and told us is that, hey, first of all, the machine's up and running. Okay? The DNS, the reverse DNS record. Remember how I told you we got name to number, but there's also number to name. There's my address. It's also known as BS10401 admin.rosa.cc.ok. I have 95 closed ports, and here's the open ports. For some reason, I'm running 443. Why am I running 443 on mine?
that would be
Internet
that web
security.
service I put on there.
But still, remember, this is inbound now. Let's find out.
Let's open it up. Let's do this.
Let's figure out what we got going on my machine.
Super cool website.
Okay. BS-104-01. Now, since I'm not connected to 8, I got to type in the port number. Page is not working. I have a feeling I know what it is. It's probably my remote access program. 'Cause I'm assuming it is. I just can't guarantee that from here. Yeah. Well, hold on. Hold on. Maybe we can get it. No, I still can't get it. No. So that's probably what it is. But this gives you an idea of what the heck's on there. Now I can also run it with a -O. Run it again. Shouldn't take that much longer. Okay, now this time we know I'm running Windows 10. Okay, I'm running build number 10074-14393. It's one hop away from me. I can also include -AV. It's a big V or a little v for version.
Illegal option.
Come on. What? It's not just -V, is it? Yeah, what's nMap for version, darn it? I just did it. Hold on. Let's find out. nMap command version.
When you put the V in there, I think it just auto-filled it for you.
Did it? Where's -V? Here they are. We don't want the ping scan. SY, SO, SV. Capital S, small s, big V.
So you changed your -V to a version. It just filled it out.
Oh. Well, let's do it. SSV. Still, why is it not showing my darn thing? Is it still going? See, it should. I just ran this downstairs, too. OS detection. I want the services, probes, open ports, so we want SV. So we got SV. Is it still going? Okay. This is showing me my ports. Why can't I see the darn SV? That's crazy. Okay, why can't I see anything? What did I type wrong?
Everything.
I must have. Okay, there's that. Now let's add the SV. Give it a minute. It's going.
How is it you can see the services on the computer that are running if you're not really like in the computer?
This is actually connecting to it, and the and it's kind of like you're asking me questions. I might not have been talking to you already, but the moment you ask me a question, I have to answer. Okay, here we go. Now we're getting some stuff. Okay, so now looking at this stuff here, I can actually see that port 443. Oh, why? Oh, I have VMware Virtual Center service running on it. That's what's on port 443. Okay, so it's not my other one.
Why in the hell do you have myself 443? Yeah, that doesn't
I don't know,
make sense.
but this 3389 is probably a TeamViewer. That's normally a remote access port. But this will tell you more about it. Then what you could do, okay? So I'm going to go over to another website here. Exploit.db. It should come up. You can go to exploit.db, and on their website you can search for all the exploits available. Okay, there's a search thing here at the top. But what you could do is you could look for an exploit for, whatever, for this thing right here. So VMware Virtual Web Server, Web Services, and if there was one, then you know to use that to break into my machine. Do we have a vulnerable machine on the network, Roy? Probably not.
No, this one, no.
Let's try this one. No guarantee this is going to work. We're actually connecting to my house. Okay, on my house I have 21, 22, 23, 80, 443, and 80, 80. Okay. Still not totally done. And I can also connect to, let's connect here. Also on another website. And let's see what this website's running. Give it a minute here. Come on. You can do it. There it goes. So this website, kdewey.com, has FTP running on it. But check this out. On port 22, I have SSH running. But I have OpenSSH 5.3. So what I could do was, did y'all hear the news the other day? Let's see. AT&T 0 day. It was a big news article just the other day. There was like 700 vulnerabilities released for AT&T systems. Yep, this is it. It was like 700 things. It says thousands of routers, many with belong to AT&T, can easily be remotely hacked through services vulnerabilities. Yeah, there's like 700 different exploits were just released. Okay, so if you were to go through this exploit DB, find those exploits, and then you could actually break into them. I mean, because you find out which routers are susceptible, and if they happen to be running the right version of whatever the exploit talks about, then you could get in. Like when you go to these exploits, like when were they? It was the 4th of September. Lotus Ruby.
They usually like automatically push out patches for their stuff, though.
You hope. Hope. Okay, so here you go. So I'm just clicking on this WinDriver, whatever. So it even tells you, here's the CVE that pertains to it. It even tells you, you know, all about it. So when you scan someone's computer, you say, aha, I found a machine. It's got OpenSSH 5.3. Actually, let's see if there's anything for OpenSSH 5.3. Let's go back to search. Here is the search. Come on, search. I want this. Should be a search right at the top. You wonder where the search went?
I saw it. If you click on that hamburger at the top right again, and then search at the bottom.
Okay, come on. Give me the list. Okay, we're looking for OpenSSH. What version? Here, we'll just copy this whole thing in there. We'll copy that whole blooming thing. So I can put that in here. Now what this will do, well, this will tell me, hey, if there is an exploit available for this specific system. And there's not, which is a good thing. That's what I would want. But if there was, it would list it right here. Then I could download it, use Metasploit, which would do it another time. Then I could use Metasploit to, wait, no results. But let's look under something old like IIS 6. Okay, hopefully if you're running IIS 6, you fixed it by now. There should be a whole bunch of stuff for IIS 6. There it is. Or maybe you're running IIS 5 still. Okay, so if I did a scan of a machine and I found one that was running on this IIS 5 or 6 FTP services, then I know there's a vulnerability. Okay, it's been available since August 31st, 2009. And I can actually download the exploit right here, install it in Metasploit, break right in, no problem at all. But this one's so old, it's already built into Metasploit. We'll do that another time. Okay.
Who puts all these exploits up on the website?
Rapid7 does most of them, and what they try to do is get people to fix them first, but it doesn't always happen. Like this came out, I mean, they called what's called the 0 day. In other words, hey, we got all these problems, and they haven't been fixed yet. So if you're a bad guy, you'd be jumping right on that and say, oh, I know this new exploit. And hopefully they haven't been patched yet. So, okay. Kind of get an idea how that works. So there's quite, in here somewhere they'll tell you all about them, hopefully. But it's just pretty crazy. So what you do is you hope, let's try Apache HTTP, this one here. Let's see if this one's got a vulnerability in it. Go up here to the hamburger again that Cameron told us what it's called now. Okay. I would hope, since this is an active website that I scanned, I would hope all these would have no exploits. But you never know. No exploits. Which is what I want. But if you're a bad guy, that's not what you want. You want the exploit to be listed so you can download it, and then you know it's going to break right in. Okay? Make sense? So this specific website, this is an awesome website. You ready for this? You're going to learn a lot here. Yeah, pretty awesome, huh?
How long has it been under construction?
Yeah, you like that? Since I put it up there? No, I use it for a project. I use it for a project. There's a subdirectory on there. I use it in one of the forensics projects. I mean, I'll look at it. I don't care. It's just a place to host it, so I didn't have to host here at Rose. The only reason I moved it, Rose State had an outage, whatever it was, and where I was hosting that at Rose State went down, and I signed the project, and as soon as the website's down, I'm like, no, it's not. Sure enough, it was. And when they fixed the network here, somehow one of the cables didn't get pushed in all the way. And it turned out it was all of our personal faculty pages. That's where that was hosted at one point. They're like, oh, wow. They said there was an air gap. In other words, it wasn't making a connection. And this is hosted from 24/7 Zillow, and it's free. So why not have one? Okay. But this is what nMap is. You can scan individual machines. You can scan entire networks. You can scan whatever. There's a lot of profiles of pre-built scans, or you can use different commands to do different things. So, kind of cool. Okay? You can go back and see whatever the heck. So, you can see all the different ports on them, and then there's that one. You can see what's open, and so that web server. So my web server is running on help2.login. What OS? Oh, I didn't do the OS scan, did I? Let's find out what type of machine it is real quick. We want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. I'm assuming it's a Linux system, since it's free. Might not be, though. Give it a minute. So we got version, we got Linux. There's also a pn command, which you need in another class.
What all can you put in that search for? So you can put IP address?
You can put IP, you can put a range of addresses. Okay, so there you go. So the system it's running on, let's see, host details. They're saying it's running Windows 10? There's no way that's running Windows 10. It says 100% accuracy, so I think it is. Really? Wait, I'm on the wrong machine. I want this one. Sorry. There it is, Linux. Okay. Yeah, right there. Linux. 97% that is Linux. So what the heck does 97% mean? It means, we're pretty sure, it's like there's something in there called TTL, time to live. Different OSs start with a different number. That sequence number I showed you, different OSs manage that differently. So based on what nMap knows, it figures it's most likely a Linux system. So if I was going to try to break into it, now we know it's Linux 2.6.32. Wow, it's been up for a very long time. It was last rebooted, well, September 2nd is last rebooted. 4 open ports, so kind of cool. Any questions and all that? Yeah, at least got a little more information. Play with these things. Go home and scan your own network. Scan your kids or wives or whoever's computers, husbands or kids. Scan, whatever.
Just scan
Girlfriend
it all.
maybe. Scan everybody. You're welcome, like in 211, 214, and also the Cyber Lounge area. You can play the heck out of those machines. You can scan them all day long because they're on separate networks. So you go play with this stuff. All right, so I'm going to stop this here recording.